couple opening remarks. First and foremost, I know a couple of you guys were asking about Wayne Morgan. Wayne has a little bit of a knee problem. They're actually going in there today to take a look at it and see what they need to do. We don't know how severe it is. We think it's probably, something that they could possibly clean up and we can get him back. But you never know till they go in there. So we'll see how Wayne gets through that. And then stepping into, the Notre Dame game, great opportunity for, for our kids, for our fans. Go back out to MetLife and play a top 10 team in Notre Dame. Extremely familiar with Coach Kelly, great football coach. Known him for years, and really he's done a nice job over there. He's got great talent, starting with Golson, great quarterback, one of the best in the country, numbers-wise especially. Young man that's really grown from 2 years ago when he was playing and then had the year off to now. You can see his growth. I think he started out learning how to manage the game, and as a youngster, and now you see him making big plays down the field. But they're not chance-taking type plays. They're plays where he knows the pressure's coming to one side and can slide away from it. So you see a really good football player there. So we'll have our hands full with a great Notre Dame team, but great opportunity for us to play a great team in MetLife. With that,
Nico?
How you doing, Coach?
He was first, but Nico. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead, Nico.
Well, you kind of reminded me of the question I wanted to ask. Just what an opportunity for you guys, not just Notre Dame, but playing home of the Giants. Prime time contest, all that peripheral stuff.
Yeah.
Just talking about how great of an opportunity it is for you guys.
Just that, I think the whole key is for coaches and players alike is to, as youngsters, you dreamt about playing in these types of games and coaching in these types of games, and now you're living that dream. You're given that opportunity. But then you got to take it to the next level and hone in on what exactly you need to do to get your job done. You need to do a great job understanding that we have to have balance. You have to have great balance in 3 areas. You got to have great balance with your mindset. The mind controls everything else. Then you got to take it to the next step, which is your physicality, and taking your mindset to your physicality and then controlling your emotional state or your spirit. And that's the stuff we talk about every day with our kids. But when you get in these situations, that's where you say you don't want your focus to be too wide, don't want it to be too narrow either. You got to find that flow, that balance that we've all watched the greatest athletes master throughout their years. And that's the mindset we're trying to take going into this. All the hoopla and stuff is great, but it's also overrated.
Stephen?
Quick 2-part question. Just so I understand with Wayne, by getting it cleaned up, is he having exploratory knee surgery?
Let's not go there, Stephen.
Okay.
We're trying to get him. We're trying to take the professionals and let them do their job, and then they'll tell me. And when I know stuff, I don't like to speculate about injuries because that's all it would be speculation.
Going in, so I wasn't sure if that meant surgery or if that meant I'm not a knee doctor.
Yeah, he's going in to see the doctors today, and they'll do what they have to do, and then I'll give you an update as we go.
Sure. And as far as kind of replacing him on the field, should it be necessary, how have those guys kind of done, Corey and Cordy and the other freshmen?
Sure. They've done a good job. Obviously, Wayne was improving, and he was kind of that third guy in the rotation. But now you adjust to the elements, you get that next guy in there and give an opportunity to play. So we'll have some guys in there getting a few more reps than they have in the past, and good opportunities for the next guy. I feel bad for Wayne. Anytime a youngster has an injury, you feel just horrible. But you also know that's part of the game. So anyway.
Is there any thought of moving anyone back over there who's not already in the rotation? Maybe Chauncey.
There's always those thoughts. Wouldn't want to share them with you before a game, though. You're always trying to give up that damn game plan. I love you. Steven, what are you wearing underneath there? Are you wearing green socks today?
Dan?
Coach, how you doing?
Good. Hey, Dan.
Linebacker core, obviously Cam Lynch has been able to do a lot of things in the first 3 games. What can you say about him and Dyshawn and Hodge and their play and their leadership right now coming off of a loss like that going into a big game?
Yeah, well, they've done a good job. We want to take it to the next level. I thought our run defense has been pretty good, and those two are a big part of that. Now we have to look at this next game and understand the game plan and the adjustments that they're going to have to make, with the attacking scheme that Brian brings to the table. Will be a little bit different. But those two guys are going to work. They put their helmet on every day, and I'm looking forward to seeing those guys play here Saturday night.
Mark?
Coach, how you doing?
Hey,
You
Mark.
talked about the opportunity, obviously, and this is the third year in a row the team's been down there. To play in a game like this, and it's prime time now. And
Yeah.
The importance, I guess, of not just playing in a game like this, but winning. You played well down there, but you haven't been able to win it.
Yeah, come up short, haven't we? You want to get that victory. You're looking forward to, playing in these games. And, I think the biggest victory we've had since I've been here is really probably the Louisville game when they were ranked 11th in the country. And I know we had a highly ranked West Virginia, game. But we haven't beaten a top 10 team since 2002 in Virginia Tech. I think that's right, 2002. So, great opportunity, but let's go try to get this thing done. I can't expound on it any more than the fact that this is what you live for. This is what you play for. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of some of those victories against teams like that in the past, and I hope for the best for our kids to try to get a couple of those lifelong memories that you get to play. It's one thing to play and experience playing it, but it's another thing to come up in the win column against a team like Notre Dame in this situation. So, you can't say enough about it unless you're a player. Then you can say enough about it and then put it to the side and go to work on, focusing in on playing the game that you're meant to play, one play at a time, and that's the key, and that's the mindset we have to have.
Chris?
Scott, obviously, the Prince and Matt have been very good this year. George and Devontae have struggled to be productive.
They really haven't struggled. Struggle would be when you're not doing a good job. They've done a good job. They're just opportunities haven't been as frequent as the other guys. I think if they had the same amount of opportunities, we could be talking about those two guys, as well. I really do. I really believe that in my heart. You can only get so many guys the ball so many times. You know what I'm saying? So you make those decisions, you move forward, but you feel there's a great sense of comfort that you feel like our third and our fourth and even our fifth with Irv all have the ability to make plays for you, which is a great thing. The toughest thing is understanding that you have to be a selfless young man and say, I got to keep fighting until my opportunity comes. So that's really how I see the situation at the running back position.
Is there something about, do running backs need to get in a rhythm, and do you need to narrow?
I think sometimes that could be true, but there's only so many, footballs to hand off and that sort of thing. So we try to be creative and use those guys like we've spoken in the past in the kicking game, and not just touching the ball in the kicking game, but running down the field and tackling people and blocking people. And those guys have been really selfless in that manner and have understood their role. You always want more, especially as a running back, quarterback, that sort of thing. But more may be coming from different vantage points and, like I said, kicking game opportunities, that sort of thing.
Mark?
Coach, you just mentioned Irv, and we didn't see a whole lot of him last week after he kind of broke out the week.
You didn't see the ball in his hands a bunch last week, but if you look at the number of plays he played, he actually played a lot of football in the kicking game as well, not just in returns, but in coverage teams and whatnot. And that's exactly what I was speaking to with Chris's question. Do we want to get him the ball more? If the opportunity presents itself, you know what I mean? But still there's that pecking order and that chain of command of who has earned first, second, third, fourth, fifth team at that specific spot. But then you say there's two types of starters. There's starters that everybody writes about because they're the starting quarterback or the starting running back or wide receiver. Or, the closer you get to the ball, we don't talk about those big guys as much. But for the elite premier skill positions, you get a lot of talk being said. But I'm always trying to tell the guys that there's three parts of this game that are increasingly important. We found out the hard way that giving up a punt block gives you, just a horrible opportunity or a horrible position to be in as a defense. So if we have great players, we need to play them in all areas and then look at the whole body of their work. So really, Irv actually played a lot of snaps and did a lot of good things for us. A lot of them were those unsung hero types of things, like coming down and force and contain in situations in the kicking game. So I've been really pleased with his growth. I think that the sky's the limit down the road for Irv. But just like Michael Turner at Northern Illinois, who ran down on kickoffs and blocked and did a lot of things that nobody heard about, before he became that guy, and that's part of the process.
Steven.
Scott, as you've seen kind of Steve Ishmael get more into with each game, it's kind of seemed like one of the things he may still be working on is the physicality of the game as a freshman, getting off the line and coming across the middle. How have you seen him work on that, and how kind of important is it as an area for improvement for him?
Those are all areas that all wide receivers, as they're younger, have to learn how to deal with. I know he felt he left a couple plays on the field last week and wish he could have him back, and that's why you play the next game. He's worked hard and diligent this week, and nobody's harder on Steve than Steve, other than maybe George, to be honest with you. We feel comfortable being really hard on the North Miami Beach kids because that's how they were coached coming up. Steve's worked well this week, and we're looking forward to his improved play in all those areas that you just mentioned.
Nate.
Wondering what
Nate.
kind of the schedule was for Saturday, given it's a night game.
Yeah,
Are you
well,
doing any kind of walkthrough?
Yeah, whenever we have a night game, we try to get them up, get them moving. Excuse me. And then we try to get some meeting time, some walkthrough time, some redundancy in the kicking game. And then the good thing about a Saturday night game as opposed to the Friday night game, Saturday night games the kids can go watch football back in their rooms, relax, and it's easy to put themselves in that mindset, that visual mindset, as opposed to watching, on a Friday game, General Hospital or something. You know what I mean? So I know even as a coach for all those years, when I was actually calling the defenses, I used to actually like, if we had a late game, I'd go and watch a game and then I'd watch it and in my head try to make calls. I'd watch the screen come up and say, all right, they're in 11 personnel. Let's go okey, like in my mind, and make a call and see how I did, knowing that I didn't game plan against that team, but it kind of gave me a chance to get in the rhythm. And that's what I talk to the kids about, when you're watching those games, see yourself. See yourself making those plays. See yourself being the difference maker. Visualize, being a playmaker, in a few hours when we get to tee it up. Excuse me.
Playing on Saturday night, Coach, what do you think the perception is of Syracuse football on a national basis?
Well, I don't know. It'd be just a think. It'd be just that, a think mode. I know that we have a lot of faithful fans, a lot of former players that are really excited about getting a chance to come over and see us. Not just the guys like Ryan Nassib and Jay Bromley and, Justin Pugh, not just those guys, but I'm talking about guys like Michael Bill, who played here many, many, many moons ago, whose brother went to Notre Dame. I know Michael's got his whole family and friends, and they're going to have orange on one side and green and Notre Dame Irish blue on the other side, and it's what college football is all about. For those that are true Orange fans and people that played here, people that went to school here, it's a great opportunity for them to take a look at their team with great pride. And, I think anything more than that would be just like you're saying. I can't think about what those people are thinking.
Jesse.
You mentioned after Maryland, you take a look at the kicker situation.
Yeah.
How Ryan's responding.
Sure.
Made any kind of decision.
Yeah. What we're doing there is we've worked them both all week. It's been a lively competition, and when we kick the thing off and play against Notre Dame, we'll know who we want to go with. We do now. I just wouldn't want to share that with you right now because we wouldn't want to give any tactical advantage to the Fighting Irish. They got plenty of advantages going into this thing as it is, so I wouldn't want to give them another wrinkle here or there. Both kids have worked and competed really well against one another and had a good, positive mindset towards that competition, though I will say that.
rather ask this now than post game, but have you thought about next week's schedule just on a
No.
short week?
Yes.
Do you think you're going to take Saturday off?
You know, you always have to make a schedule and then adjust to the schedule depending upon where you are. So, yeah, you know, back in the summer we made the schedule up. I've looked at it for a long time, come up with the initial game plan, and then you get into it and you say, do we need to adjust it here, there, or elsewhere, depending upon, you know, all the things that could happen. You know, you could have travel issues, you could have more injuries, you could have less injuries, you know what I mean? You could amp things up, you could back things off. So we have our plan, but that's always one of those deals where you have to be ready to make those changes that are probably smart and to the point as to where your program is at that point in time.
Yeah.
Last time you were out in MetLife, Robert Welsh got that interception.
Yeah.
And 1 yard away from getting in. What can you say about where he's at right now and his role, as well as the rest of the defensive line heading into this game, knowing that he had that big moment, but now he kind of has more responsibility?
Yeah, it's in the past. You can't live in the past. The kids are working hard. Coach Stouse is on them extremely hard. I've seen improvements in a lot of areas. I think Rob has worked really hard to be the best player he could be in his last season here at Syracuse. I know he'll be excited to get back out there. I'm sure we'll have a lot of folks coming over to the game. I like the way the guys are working. There's a lot of improvements we need with a lot of those new faces in there. But I've been pleased with our rush defense. I've been pleased with our ability to make sacks in games. The one element that we've got to improve upon is getting the ball back to our offense. Turnovers. You know, we should have been two more above the curve in that last game, and we're not. So we got to finish those plays, and that could come from guys up front forcing the ball to come out a little bit quicker, so the guys in the back can jump it, and all those things included.
Time for a few more. We'll go to Jacob.
Hi, Scott.
Hi, Jacob.
Does it change things a little bit for you all as an offense and your receivers specifically when you go up against a team that plays a little more man like Notre Dame does?
Yeah, for sure. I think any scheme is Coach Kelly's done a great job there. You know, his background is heavily on the offensive side. Now, Brian Van Gorder is a spectacular football coach. I've been watching him for years. Coached against him once way back in the day. I think he was actually at Central Michigan at the time when I was at NIU. So familiar with the things he's done. He's had people influence his creativity when he was with the Jets. I see some of the same carryover, some of the same man concepts. Sometimes it's a combination of match on one side and zone on the other. Very creative guy, and always easier to be creative when you have guys that can run around and do those things, and he's got a bunch of them. So he's done a great job. So yes, we will have adjustments for the type of defense we're playing week to week, including this one.
Mark?
Coach, obviously, you're a guy with a great passion for college football.
Yeah.
You grew up in the Midwest, so I'm wondering for you and your players, is there some sort of an awe factor when you see those golden helmets come out?
Yeah, I don't know if it's an awe. The older you get, the more the more you know it's still football. You know, I'll tell you a story. My first collegiate game ever coaching, I was a graduate assistant at Indiana, and we played Notre Dame at Notre Dame. That was my first college football game. I can remember sitting next to Coach Novak, a guy that gave me an opportunity to work for Bill Mallory. And he was the defensive coordinator, and I was that GA in the corner of the locker room. And my heart was pumping pretty good. I was just a Division III guy from nowhere in Ohio. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I was really in awe of Notre Dame. Coach Novak looked over at me. We were both putting our socks on in a pregame, and he said, "You little son of a gun. It's taken me 23 years to get here and play in this venue, and here you are in your first game at Notre Dame as a college football coach." And I turned to him and I said, "Coach, it's taken me 23 years to get here too," because I was 23 years old at the time. And I was in awe, but I do remember distinctly, I was really in awe because Coach Holtz, he won't remember this, Lou Holtz, but he actually yelled at me because I had my guys on the other side of the 50-yard line where we weren't supposed to be. In warm-ups, I had like Trent Green, our quarterbacks, and we were too far back, and he's like, you don't get to the 50 or whatever. And I was like, oh, she's moved over. So I got to tell you, I was intimidated. I shouldn't have been. It was just Coach Holtz. He grew up on Ohio like I grew up on Ohio. We didn't have anything, you know. We just kind of knew football was a way to get out, I guess. But anyway, I was in awe until about somewhere in the middle of the first quarter, there was a TV timeout. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I didn't know what a TV timeout was. We never had TV timeouts in Division III football. You know what I'm saying? So I'm standing there, and I was on the sideline. I was charting. I was doing charting at the time, and I was mad because something didn't happen the way we wanted it to and whatever. And then I remember just stopping and kind of looking around saying, it's still football. These two white lines, we're just trying to win a game, you know, as opposed to all the pomp and circumstance of the band and the stadium and the aura of the legacy and the traditions and all those things. Those things are great. But when you're on the inside, they don't matter. You better make your best move right now. You better make your best block right now, or else you're going to get opened up. No different than when you were playing 9th grade football at Auburn Road Junior High against John R. Williams. It's the same game. Now you say, oh, you're trying to downplay it, Coach. Not trying to downplay anything. This is a great opportunity. It's an unbelievable chance to live the dream for my players and our coaches and myself. But, you know, it's overrated if you don't take care of job one, and that's what's the call, what's the cadence, what foot do I have to step with, what are they in, let me go try to knock this guy backwards. So trying to break it down into the simplicity of the things that it is the key. Understanding there's quite a few Chinese people out there over in China that don't even give a hell that we're playing a football game. My father-in-law used to say that to me all the time. When I was a young coach, after my dad had passed away, he tried to kind of take me under his wing, and we'd lose a game, and I would think it was the end of the world, and he'd say that to me all the time. And I thought that was pretty profound, you know, trying to bring you back to reality.
Stephen, and then over here.
Tim Lester said in passing on Tuesday that A.J. Long has really embraced being Everett Golson this week as a scout team quarterback. Can you kind of just expand on that? And
Yeah, let me say this. Yeah, exactly. No doubt about that. A.J., he loves to play the game, and it's become one of those things now with me where, you know, there's those different pieces and parts of practice as a coach that you're kind of looking forward to, and as a head coach, you're worried about everything. So I'm down here looking at this. I'm over here looking at this. I'm looking at, did we script it the right way? You know, all those things. But I will say this. The last couple of weeks, like, I really enjoy watching the scout offense and enjoying seeing AJ just compete. He is a competitive son of a gun. He plays his butt off every practice. And he's a damn good football player. You know, you guys will remember last year when I told you guys a story about Terrell. I didn't realize everything about Terrell until it was live bullets. You know, kind of seeing the same thing with AJ. You know, you see him warm up. I'm like, oh, his elbow is this and all this other stuff. You see him go past Skelly, and you're like, wow, the timing and stepping this. But when stuff's coming at AJ, he turns into a damn football player. And he's running around, he's doing this, he's throwing it here. So, yeah, he's done a great job trying to be the quarterback of the week, and he enjoys the process. He's the guy, if we had a backyard pickup game, you know, I'd be like, AJ, you know, let's go. Let's get this thing going. He'd be the first one there. He'd have all the beads and trinkets. He'd have wristbands around his neck and all that other stuff and ready to go, just loving to play the game. So he's done a great job. Very proud of him. Doing much better in school, too. You know, I think he's learning how to be a college student athlete. He had a couple bumps in the road early, but he's faced it head on. I've been really pleased with his growth and development. But I enjoy that backyard football side of practice where I get to watch AJ just go play ball, you know.
Last question.
Long answer to a short question, sorry.
And as far as playing this 8 p.m. ABC game, it's obviously a big stage. What do you think it says about the development of this program and where it's headed?
Well, you know, we've played a lot of big games over the years here, way before I was even a speck on the map at Syracuse. So, you know, our whole goal is, you know, I've talked to Dr. Gross about this. I've talked to alumni, former players. You know, we knew we had to rebuild things here when we first got here under the guidance of Coach Marone and all of us involved. We've gotten to the point where, we feel like the program's respectable again. Now what we want to do is fight our butt off to get to that point where we can say we're relevant again. We're a relevant team, where we're a top 25 team again. And that's not an easy place to get to, and we have a doggone difficult schedule in front of us, but we always do at Syracuse. And the opportunities to be relevant are the ones that are presented this weekend. And, whether you win, whether you lose, you want to fight your butt off to play the game with great integrity, but you also understand when you can get a big victory and an opportunity in a game like this, it can push you fast forward, And our kids have done a good job with that over the last few years, winning some games against people that we were major underdogs, So it's another opportunity that presents itself. This one's just probably the biggest one as of late, or the next one up, I should say, in playing a great Notre Dame team.
Thanks, Coach.
Be good?
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See you at MetLife.